For my project, I decided to create my own eco-friendly surf wax. This idea came to me when I discovered that the majority of popular surf wax on the market, such as Sticky Bumps and Zogs, are made with paraffin wax and petroleum jelly, both petroleum-based and filled with petrochemicals that are harmful to the ocean and the creatures that live there. Brands like Zog's Sex Wax acknowledge on their website that their product is harmful to the environment, and they don't care. My wax is made from organic, all-natural materials. The three simple ingredients are beeswax, coconut oil, and pine tree resin. I made 3 batches, altering proportions of ingredients for each batch, and settled on a ratio of 3 parts beeswax, 1 part coconut oil, and 1 part tree resin. I was going to add scents and color, but I realized that coconut oil made it smell like coconut already, and the yellow organic beeswax I used already had a color, so I was able to keep my wax all natural and free of any artificial dyes or scents. For molds, I tried out a long bar shape, thinking that the wax application would be easiest that way, and I also tried out a fish mold. While the barb mold was maybe more practical, it wasn't nearly as cute, so I decided to make the rest of the waxes in fish form. I combined all the ingredients on low heat until they were melted into a liquid form, and then quickly poured them into the molds. However, the dishes I used to melt and combine the ingredients were pretty much ruined forever, because the tree resin was so sticky and would not come off. Now comes the fun part, testing the wax. I gathered some friends and we headed to the beach. After surfing for about an hour, the wax was surprisingly still on the boards, but not as sticky as it was before. This was a better outcome than expected, because I was initially concerned that the small amount of tree resin would not be enough to keep the wax on the boards for longer than 15 minutes. Surf wax tends to come off boards quicker in colder water, and the water off our coasts is definitely pretty cold, so I was quite impressed with how well the wax held up. And I wasn't the only person impressed by the wax.
It's Eco Surf Wax.
Dude, this stuff's amazing. It's super sticky. I'm able to just pop right back up.
My friends and family were very excited by the prospect of using an eco-friendly surf wax every time they surf, so I better get started on some more batches. Though I officially tested out the surf wax 3 times for each batch I made, I've used it almost every time I've gone surfing since then. Part of the beauty of this project was having an excuse to rally my friends and go surfing almost every weekend since October. We live in too beautiful of an area not to explore it, and take full advantage of the many amazing things there are to do here, such as surfing. Growing up in such a picturesque area, with forests and mountains and oceans, I have a deep appreciation for nature and want to preserve its beauty as best as I can, and my eco-friendly surf wax is the way I plan to do it. Most surfers, like me, care about the ocean, since it is where they take part in their favorite activity. For the majority of people, they simply just are unaware that their wax contains compounds that harm the ocean and its inhabitants. Paraffin wax, the main ingredient in surf wax, is created from crude oil, a non-renewable resource. There is always a high possibility for environmental damage when oil is extracted and transported, and there have been countless consequences when these accidents occur. Oil spills damage habitats, especially oceanic ones, so it is quite ironic that the main ingredient of surf wax is created from such an unsustainable substance. Critics would argue that since paraffin wax is biodegradable, it really is not that bad. However, if allowed to biodegrade, the wax will release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and our fragile ozone layer cannot take much more CO2. This causes climate change, which causes the oceans to warm and threatens to destroy the delicate ocean ecosystem. The petrochemicals in traditional surf wax are also toxic if digested, posing a major risk to wildlife. The surfing world has already made great strides in becoming more environmentally aware, with brands such as Outerknown recycling fishing nets and nylon surplus to make into jackets and board shorts. Some brands are collecting rubber for wetsuits from the rubber tree as opposed to neoprene, and recycling plastic bottles to make into wetsuits. Much of the sustainable surfing innovations have been pushed and backed by 11-time world surfing champion Kelly Slater, with his businesses such as Firewire, which creates eco-boards with recycled water bottle leashes and traction pads. Making my own surf wax was such a fun and rewarding experience, And as an avid surfer and environmentalist, I can feel reassured that my eco-friendly surf wax will not harm the environment.